By now, you've heard about GlobalPoker, one of the fastest growing online card rooms available in the US and Canada today. So what's stopping you from trying it out? GlobalPoker is a safe and secure social poker site that uses their own patented sweepstakes model. Signing up is easy. You can use Google, Facebook, or just an email address. You can always play for free on GlobalPoker, but you can also buy gold coins for additional play, which will earn sweeps coins that can be redeemed for real cash to a bank account, Skrill account, or even as a gift card. Get a free 5,000 gold coins when you sign up right now at globalpoker.com.
Poker Stories is an audio series that features casual interviews with some of the game's best players and personalities. Each episode highlights a well-known figure in the poker world and dives deep into their favorite tales, both on and off the feld.
Hello and welcome to Poker Stories, a podcast brought to you by Card Player, the Poker Authority, and hosted by me, Julio Rodriguez. This is episode number 127, and it features Dan Jungleman Cates. Jungleman is one of the biggest winners online ever, and in fact, he had already won millions before he was even 21 years old, having discovered the game while in high school. Over the last decade, Cates has continued to crush online, staying atop the cash game world while occasionally taking the time to win millions more on the live tournament circuit. In fact, last fall, he won nearly $1 million and his first WSOP bracelet in the prestigious $50,000 buy-in Poker Players Championship event. And he did it while dressed as a Dragon Ball Z character. Cates has been having a lot of fun in the past couple of years. He appeared in a very not safe for work music video that featured a strip poker game, and he also took on a pro wrestler persona to take on Phil Galfond in a heads-up challenge. His Instagram is filled with shots from exotic locations such as Jordan, India, Romania, Tanzania, Dubai, Ibiza, and even the French Alps. And get this, for his next trip, he plans on trying to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. This was a very interesting interview, and we talked about all sorts of subjects, including his fitness prop bets, his time working at McDonald's, and how he felt after losing a pot worth a reported 25 million USD. That's enough intro. Here is my conversation with Dan Cates. I am here with Super Pro Dan Jungleman Cates. How you doing, Dan? I saw on Twitter that you wanted the new label of Super Pro.
Yep, that's right.
Obviously, you know, it's been a busy time in your life, not only at the series, but since. You know, you have a lot of interesting things in the work, not just poker. And I want to talk about the most recent announcement I just saw. You're climbing Mount Kilimanjaro?
That's right, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
I mean, that's pretty intense. How did this come to be?
Yeah, it's more intense than I thought. To be honest, I didn't think it was like that intense somehow when I signed up for it. Now that you know, it being the tallest freestanding mountain in the world made me rethink things. But it didn't feel like a lot, even though it sounds like a lot. And then now I realize you have to train for it and do all this stuff. I'm like, whoa, this is actually like a pretty big undertaking.
Yeah, I mean, that would be incredibly impressive.
I just thought it'd be a nice adventurous thing to do, and I thought it would be, you know, I thought it'd be good for my brand, and I thought it would be a good bonding experience with, you know, some cool people, and just a good life experience, basically. That's pretty much what it came down to, and yeah, pretty much it.
So what are the details? When is this going down?
It's going down in early February.
All right. So what kind of training is involved here? Are we talking about, is it mostly gym training, or do you have to like get ready for the atmospheric conditions?
A little bit of both. Gym training, a lot of gym training, and yeah, I mean the main thing really is atmospheric conditions. It's the main thing that can go wrong. from what I can tell.
Have you been? Sorry,
Huh?
go ahead.
Yeah, that's the main thing that could go wrong. It's just apparently at really high altitudes, it's just super hard to move at a certain point, and you just kind of have to push through it until you get there.
So, how long is the trip expected to take? And
Five
who's going with you?
days.
What kind of? Okay.
5 days. I'm going with this guy. I believe his name is Sean Swarmer. He's got one lung, and he's done it a bunch of times. He's climbed Everest and been to the North and South Pole. He's kind of a legend. Well, he's a legend. Another friend of mine who's going is this guy named Alvaro Nunez, he's an up and coming guy in the real estate scene in Miami. He's kind of a super connector too, you could say. So he's kind of a big deal as well. And a couple other people are doing pretty well in life, I would say. So it's people that I would say have their shit together and are ready for this whole ordeal. And
Yeah, ready to challenge themselves.
Own.
That's awesome. So, what is this? You're doing this a little bit for charity as well?
Well, I'm trying to tie it to my brand and raise money for charity. That's the new plan, or that's the current plan. I figure to do something like this, let's try to raise some money and do some good at the same time. And the charity I've partnered with, well, right now it's more. It's not quite a social enterprise right now. It's not for profit. It's called Tembo, which is the biggest. There's a few education programs, but this one, there's a few education programs that teach through text, but this one is the biggest one that teaches through text, and it teaches in 6 countries, and uses a Harvard-based program. And I think it could really change the world potentially. I think it has the possibility, and you could say we're trying to go to the top of the world with Tembo, and educate all the kids. That's the plan.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So this sends is basically little learning assignments to parents who may not have access to traditional schooling.
Yeah. Yeah. Although having schooling does help, I would think it's actually assisted through schooling a lot of the time because there needs to be mentorship for the kids who are doing their own thing and all that. But yeah.
That sounds super cool. We'll have some other projects that you have in the works I want to get to. But on this show, we actually go back to the beginning. We get a little bit of that poker origin story. So can you tell me a little bit about growing up in Maryland?
So growing up in Maryland, I was a bit of a different kid. When I was younger, I didn't really socialize all that much. And what else? Maryland's okay.
Well, I read that you were a little bit of an indoor kid, right? You liked video games?
Yes, I played a lot of video games when I was younger, and I heard all the. What was very unfortunate about all these how do you say, these day jobs, they sounded terrible, and along came poker. I'm sitting there thinking, well, I'd like to be free and not have my own boss, so that's kind of where poker started. That's the whole idea of poker, is I just wanted to be my own boss and be free.
What did your parents do?
That's how I got into poker. My dad had a big managing position at a company, and my mom was a chemist.
So they were kind of, had to punch in every day at a certain time, and you said, that's not for me.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that, but I hear that all the time.
you're playing poker in high school. I read you're using little scraps of paper to keep track. I mean, was it like a big craze at your high school?
Not at all. Actually, I was very frustrated because I couldn't play anywhere and I didn't know where to play. But I did play with some classmates using up little pieces of paper, and those guys I beat them, but they didn't want to play me because I had won. And so from there, I didn't know about online poker at the time. I didn't know about Googling things. So from there, I found some kids that were playing in the neighborhood. They're playing a little bit bigger than I wanted to play, like $50 to $200 buy-in. They were quite a bit better than me, and I played with them instead, and that's the start of my live poker career.
And it didn't go well, right?
It did not go well.
So what
No.
made you want to stick around even though you weren't a winner right away?
Well, with the other games, I'd gotten good. Eventually, yeah, you could say with the other games, I got good eventually, and I just knew that all the times that I persevered with the other games, I could do things that I thought I couldn't do, and I emotionally had the experience that to have that kind of confidence that that could happen again. And so from there, I just thought I could do it if I kept trying hard enough, basically.
So we have a question here where we ask, what's the worst job you ever had before poker? And you famously worked at McDonald's to build up a bankroll, right?
Yeah.
How bad was it? Is it as bad as everyone says it is?
It wasn't that bad. It was quite friendly, but it was very boring. It was just soul crushing and really boring, is what I remember. Not something I want to keep doing. Let's put it that way.
How long did you stick around there?
1 month.
Okay. What about any other jobs did you do before poker, or was it strictly poker or bust?
I was an intern at a college, and I had an internship for this professor and worked for him for a while, but it didn't really do all that much, basically.
This was when you were at the University of Maryland?
Yeah.
So what did you go there with what was your plan?
My plan was well, it was. Oh, excuse me. That wasn't when it was at the University of Maryland, but I wasn't at the University of Maryland. It was when I was 15. It was just this special program, and I had, it was just a special program that I did.
Got it. So you did eventually, enroll at Maryland, which is has a surprising number of top poker pros who have come out of the University of Maryland, like Bonomo, Dan Smith, Greg Mercer, the list goes on and on. Was there a big poker scene there when you were there, or was it still where you're finding online poker?
No, I wasn't into that, really. I was just finding it. I was a little bit late to the party.
So what was your plan at Maryland, and how did poker take over?
My plan was originally to go to math, to be a math professor, or to be a math specialist. Excuse me, to major in math, and then I changed it to computer science. And all the while I was playing poker, and my grades weren't that great, and I wasn't too enthusiastic about doing computer science, but poker kept getting better and better. I just kept going up and up in stakes, and at some point I was able to win the money, and I just kept winning more and more, and at some point I had to retake the class a third time, actually, computer science, or excuse me, game theory, ironically. So I dropped out because of that. And at that time I made millions already, so dropping out made sense.
Exactly. So before you were even 21, you were already playing the highest stakes online. The Wikipedia page, I don't know how accurate it is, says you went from 25 cent, 50 cent to 25.50 in 2 years. So was that just
That
like a?
Yeah, that's accurate.
So how was this progression? Were you kind of just kamikaze styling up the ranks, or was it slow and steady?
It was pretty fast, I would say. It was not kamikazing. I remember where I got stuck at 2-4 for a while, and then a little bit stuck at 5-10, but not too long. And then going from 10-20 to 25-50 was a bit tough. I remember that.
So when did you discover that you had a knack for heads up play?
When I was playing sit and goes. It was shortly after I won a big tournament. For me at the time, I won $5,000, and I had like $3,000. I won this tournament, and then it was a bit after that where I tried heads up for a session, and I won $300 in a session. And thought, wow, this is it's pretty easy, and that was like a lot of money for me during playing heads up. It was. I mean, it was not that easy to make that much money playing sit and goes, really. And I mean, it just felt like a lot of money playing 25, 50 cent, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how I would say.
So what I read was that you would take on the best player at each limit before you allowed yourself to move up. Is that true?
No, not quite that extreme, but more like I've tried to play them all and try to beat everyone. Basically, that was what I did.
Okay.
But even then, I didn't do that 100%. When I started losing quite a bit and went on a downswing, what I would do is not play the top players for a while, and like at some point even not play the good players, and just play the not so great players, and try to rebuild my confidence in my role and that kind of thing.
Is it true that your family tried to discourage you from playing, and also that your grandma told you that you didn't have any talent?
Kind of. My I wouldn't say my family discouraged me, but what they did was they I was using my savings account for a while. I had $3,000 in it. I believe I lost $5,000, and I lost $2,000 of it, something like this. And they locked it up. And then my grandma said that I couldn't bluff, as that's what she said.
That's a little harsh from grandma, but probably trying to steer you in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you drop out. You got millions in the bank, so it's obviously poker, or all the way. How risk averse would you say you were when it came to your bankroll? Were you taking big shots or taking on all comers, or was this calculated?
It was pretty calculated. I think I never really risked more than I think I had like 30 binds a lot or 50 binds quite often.
Did you find that you mentally were pretty strong even back then, or were there bouts of tilt?
I was pretty mentally strong for the most part, I would say. There were little bits of tilt, but not that much overall.
I know you had to rebuild after a big loss to Victor Blom back in the day. What was that like, dropping down in stakes and rebuilding?
That was very demoralizing, and I remember for the moment I had this weird overarching fear that I would go broke, or at least a little bit of paranoia. I lost 500,000 to him, and then another 100,000 the next day. It was very nerve wracking. I had all this confidence, and all of a sudden I lost all this fucking money really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was. It definitely did a lot of damage to my confidence, you could say, at least for a while, for a little bit. I remember I just had the idea that I wouldn't take too many risks and not risk not going broke. Basically, was my thought process because yeah, I just thought. It just occurred to me that I could have a good life. I remember the thought that could have a good life if I just didn't do anything too crazy, and that if I just grinded it back up. Unfortunately, it worked out really fast.
Oh, to get it all back, you're saying?
Yeah.
What about this loss you tweeted about in Manila for $5 million?
That was not all my money, fortunately, and yes, that happened.
So, can you talk about the circumstances of that one? How do you feel afterwards? Is it like a gut punch, or is it just chalk it up to just a bad run at the table one day?
No, it was definitely a bad run, if I remember right. It was definitely a bad run. I didn't play. I played fine. It just was what it was, basically.
So at a certain point, you get to the highest levels online, you got to start looking elsewhere for action. I know you play a lot of private game stuff. What percentage of that makes up your day-to-day schedule?
I don't play private games that much, actually. I did make many flights to Asia to play private games, Hong Kong, Manila, and these kinds of places. And yeah, that's what happened, basically. But I wouldn't say I play them that much. I find it very tough to get into private games.
Okay, so what about when live poker just came into play in general? Obviously you had no problem sitting down with the best. Was there an adjustment period at all?
There's definitely an adjustment period. It's very easy to play too many hands when you first start, and that was the biggest problem that I had. People played a bit differently, so there's that too. Yeah, I mean, for the first couple of months, I may have been losing or just not that good at it. I would say maybe even less than that.
How do you feel about it today? Do you prefer live to online, or you still like online?
I still like online for sure.
So what's your dream game then? Six max, heads up, low.
Let's see. It's gonna be no limit hold'em.
Okay.
It's gonna be. I mean, it depends, right? It depends on who you're playing against. Because I would probably in a vacuum pick something like 8 game or 10 game. But if I was playing against not that great opponents, I would prefer no limit hold'em, where you can bluff and do all these moves, and feels like at least you can get away with. It feels like you're more in control and there's more action.
Right, rather than just being at the mercy of a good run out or whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're playing Raz and you just can't help but lose the bring in every hand and get your head kicked in, right?
Oh yeah. The limit's super annoying when you run bad. Just because it's more tilting than dignity for sure.
No creativity allowed either. Okay, so let's talk about switching to live tournaments, because right before the pandemic, you had your best summer ever, doing really well at Triton. And then obviously you come back this series and take down the $50,000 Poker Players Championship, which is pretty epic. Can you talk about your evolution as a tournament player and where you are today?
I wouldn't say I'm like that stellar of a tournament player, honestly. Like struggling with ICM has been a bit of an issue, but I understand it a little bit, a bit. I'd say. I still think there's probably a decent amount of mistakes I make, especially if I don't like go too fast. Honestly, and yeah, and I think I do that quite a bit.
Well, you're being modest, but you called your shot in the PPC, right? You said you were going to win it, and then you did.
Yeah, well, that came from firstly the idea of like something straight out of the cartoons, where the cartoons say it's their the people in the cartoons say that it's like their destiny to win. This is what they fucking say, and then everyone always says when they're interviewed, like, oh, you have to work hard, and I don't know if I'm gonna win, and all this kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of math and variance, and I'm gonna work hard, or like this normal stuff, the stuff that you expect. But it's boring because everyone always says that. So I decided to say something differently. And the funny thing was, the first time I said it, I almost won. And I thought, let's try it again. Let's try it again for the same tournament. I was actually talking about this year. I wasn't even lying. I was talking about this year.
That's right. You just had a delay.
It's pretty crazy that I actually won. I almost can't believe it myself. I mean, it's pretty low chance that happens. But
before we get into how you won and the circumstances there, let's talk about the bracelet itself. Was this something that was on your bucket list? Did you care about one day having a bracelet?
Not really, honestly. It's nice to add to my series of successes, but I want to do a lot of other things besides win a bracelet. More in poker, I want to do stuff outside of poker, actually. But it's gonna be a minute, I think. It's gonna be tough.
Where do you keep the bracelet? Do you have it displayed somewhere? Is it just in a box in a drawer somewhere? So are you there?
I have it with me.
Oh, you have it with you. Okay, so you wear it 24/7.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Yeah, have people asked to see it or anything? Or?
Actually, when I first got it, I didn't even know what a bracelet was. So I didn't know that you could wear it on your arm. I thought it was like something. It's like a necklace or something is what I first thought it was.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that should show it wasn't high on your priority list.
No.
Let's talk about the outfit, right? Because you were Goku. People saying that you were a Street Fighter.
That was the general theme. Was I was Goku? That's what I was aiming for. I was trying to throw together an outfit, and somehow I found sensu beans and a power boost by a sheer coincidence. I guess that was a big hint. It was like this bizarre miracle, you could say, that I found all that stuff. And yeah, I mean the blue hair. Goku goes into God mode and his hair turns blue, and I went into God mode, and my hair turned blue too, and I had the boots to match as well. So obviously, the blue outfit, which I think he wears in one of the episodes. So yeah, that was pretty much the plan. I just went blue.
Did you do it for any strategic advantage? Do you think it threw people off?
No, I was just having fun.
I was gonna say, you've been having a lot of fun at the poker tables the last couple of years, right? I mean, well, there was the very sexy poker music video, right? What was that about?
That was fun. Yeah, that was fun. I just thought I'd be that guy,
What guy? I don't think anybody's ever seen anything like this.
Guy. Why not? Someone's got to do it. Why not me?
There you go. And then, of course, you were talking a whole bunch of trash during your heads up match with Phil Galfond, almost like a pro wrestler, which leads you into the Goku stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I mean Phil Galfond. I mean Mr. Falcons. Don't forget who he is, because I'm trying to tell people that he's not as nice as people think. I know there's something more to his nice antics. I've seen the inner connivingness that he's got, and people just don't get it.
There you go, Phil. All your secrets are being exposed. All right, let's talk about the worst fold in poker history, according to some people. I had Ryan Leng on the podcast, and we talked about it. He had nothing but compliments about you and your play.
I mean, Jungle is Jungle. He's one of the best. He's got to be like a 160 IQ or more, right? He's a genius. He's a brilliant poker player. We all know he's like out there and a goofball, but I got wrecked by Jungle, and I feel no shame in that whatsoever.
But we did talk about the hand. I would love to hear your perspective of this hand that went down where you raised all in for half a bet more and he somehow folded.
And Jungle picks up a good hand.
See what happens.
But he's going with a flat. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a big one.
King Queen against Ace 5, a Broadway Gutty against top pair, advantage Leng.
Wow, Leng checks this flop and Jungle bets for value.
Oh.
Interesting situation.
Really unorthodox line being taken by Leng here, inducing Jungle to take initiative. He took his one shot on the flop for a small bet, does not fire in position on the river, and now Jungle has hit the king, and Leng comes out swinging.
All in.
Raise all in. How much is it? I mean, I'm never good here.
Wow, it's
Would you make
300
like kings
more.
and sevens or something? 9.
Jungle just thinks he has the best
9,
hand with a king here. Oh my gosh.
So sick, because I'm never good, but like, how can I ever...
Is Ryan really thinking of folding after taking this unorthodox line?
It's only 300,000 more to call. He's getting 11 to 1.
Save one bet.
Crazy.
8.5.
All he has to do is click call, getting an insane price here, Chris, and Jungle's done.
Yeah, and Jungle thinks he has the nuts with King Queen the way this hand was played. This is crazy. Oh my god. Wow.
Let me get him to table this one.
Oh wow.
Jungle can't believe it. What just happened?
What just happened is that
It's finished.
Why did he do that?
Ryan Leng
Jungle can't believe it.
Nice hand, Jungle. Yeah, you're raising for value, I guess?
I don't know. It's a bluff.
Doesn't make any sense.
didn't click
Jungle's
call,
just
and in
laughing.
the process cost himself and Paul Volpe $185,000 in lockup money.
That's crazy.
75.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about it?
Well, just
would you
like, what were you thinking during the hand? Are you thinking you're raising for value? Are you thinking you're raising as a bluff? What was your thought process as
I was raising for value. To be honest.
Okay, so what happens after, you realized what he's folded? What's going through your mind? That you got away with one there? Like it was...
When he starts talking, I realize what he's got, and in my head I'm thinking, oh my god, no way he is an ace, and he's about to fold. And then he, shows it, and then he pitches it, and I just can't fucking believe it. But I'm like, the stoic, obviously, I have to keep my cool. But it's obviously, completely insane. And it makes sense. It's just not something that I'm used to seeing every day. But I guess there was some signs that he was underplaying hands at no limit. But it's with so little behind, it's pretty wild to ever consider even taking this kind of line.
And it's obviously an extra 500, 600 grand in your pocket. Did you feel some motivation to get it done after seeing that, or did you feel like you were just free rolling? I
felt like I wasn't No, I didn't feel much motivation, but I just thought to myself, wow, how hilarious would it be if I win from this point? Is what I was thinking.
I've been looking at your Instagram and getting super jealous of all the exotic locations you've been at this last few years. You were at a couple film festivals, Venice and Cannes.
Yeah.
What were you there for?
For raising money for my charity and meeting people, you could say networking as well, and for the experience. Pretty much those reasons. I had some friends going there as well.
I saw you were also in Jordan at Petra, where they filmed Indiana Jones. That looked cool as hell.
Yeah, that was really cool. I was visiting a charity that helps kids that are stranded from war, or orphaned, or need a medical aid. It's called Children of War Foundation, and what they do is very, very admirable. And they have an open checkbook, so you can see where the money goes. It's one of the legit charities out there. Many charities are places that people just hide money and all that, which really pisses me off.
Right.
And we also happened to see Petra, and we also happened to, get to tour the country a bit. The people in Jordan are very hospitable. We also, I also got to see the place where Christ was baptized and visited all that stuff, and where Moses last spoke. I thought that was pretty cool. It's like a very pivotal moment in history.
Deep history. You're going way back. True to your name, Jungleman. You got pictures on there with lions. You got elephants, owls, monkeys. you're not afraid to get in there with some wild animals.
Very true. Well, yeah, that's true, and now I'm part of Tembo, and doing all that stuff.
Which was the craziest animal experience?
The craziest animal experience? Let me think. It's probably, I guess, having a monkey on my shoulder was a pretty crazy animal experience. That was super long ago, in 2010. Another crazy one was when I was walking with lions. There's allegedly not drugged, which is a bit hard to believe.
Yeah, otherwise they were not showing any interest in you, huh?
Yeah. I remember I took a selfie with one that was like looking to the camera, looking at me while I was looking at the camera.
Yeah, those organizations, you never know, I guess, right? Yeah. Then you also you learned about your past life in India. You went bungee jumping in South Africa. You got Romania, Tanzania, Dubai, Ibiza, the French Alps. Is there anything left on your bucket list?
Oh, there's lots of things.
What's at the top?
What's at the top? Well, I wanted to build a career outside of poker. Basically, I wanted to do. Yeah, well, it doesn't exactly have to be outside, but I think tangent to poker would be good somehow. But I don't know exactly what that would be. I mean, now I have a couple ideas, actually, is to turn poker into some kind of education thing. I think that could have some potential because really, through games, people learn about the world. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we play games.
Oh, interesting. So it wouldn't be like to teach you poker, it would be to use poker to teach you other stuff?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I always talk to poker players about, and you can kind of get a sense of if they apply poker, not poker strategy, but just GTO to their life. You know what I mean? Are you one of those people who sees the cards the same way they see, everyday situations?
I do see it, but it's very hard to do it all the time because it would require like a really intense amount of discipline, a decent degree. I think it would require a decent degree of organization as well, and I think it's like almost unrealistic, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to Justin Bonomo, and he was saying that for a while he was interacting with the world kind of like a robot, the way he would at the poker table, when he realized that he had to find a way to switch it off when he wasn't at work, so to speak.
I mean, like the same thought process exists, but it's just like, I mean, it's just really hard to do this all the time. Like, I think my personal belief is that if game theory is applied to human interaction, it will essentially show that morality is correct, actually, and the meaning that like when people talk about morality, they talk about doing the right action. What that means is the right action is literally the right action for the best of humanity, and presuming that karma is real and all that, which it does make sense that karma could be real. Actually, this does seem to check out logically, even at a superficial perspective. That it will lead to a better situation for everyone ultimately. I mean, I'd like to say that's my belief, but if you truly believe something, you live your life 100% to that. But that's damn hard.
Yeah.
That's like essentially being like Jesus, basically. It's very, very difficult.
Well, you could even apply the same thing to like things like government services, where, some people say, oh, I shouldn't have to pay for such and such things, even though it betters society and overall would better their own individual life in the long run. So like you're saying, if everyone does the right thing, everyone will be better off, even with some temporary short-term downsides.
You can say temporary, but it can be like it can be a downside that lasts for a very long time, actually.
Oh yeah, generations for sure. But yeah, I meant temporary in the grand scheme of the universe. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, then no, but we are human.
Now we're getting to some deep thoughts. All right, we have some rapid fire questions to close it out. If you're ready to go.
Okay.
What was the best shot you ever took?
The best shot?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Just like, I know you said you were pretty disciplined and you never took too much of yourself for coming up, but was there one particular time where you put a little too much on the table and it worked out?
Yeah, there were a couple times for sure. I took some big shots at let's see. I took some big shots at like the big Asian games and it worked out. I took like, I don't know how to describe them though. I mean, I've won like probably 10 million, but I had a large relative piece of myself. But the game, like, it still wasn't an overall big piece, if that makes sense.
So in these games you're describing, how many of the players would we even know or recognize? Or is it mostly just people, businessmen who don't play the circuit or in the States?
It's mostly, no, it's pros. Like True Teller played, Ivy played, Tom Dwan played, Rui Cal played, guys like this, Aufwa, and then some businessmen.
And was there a lot of battling with the other pros, or are you guys mostly just there to sit back and wait for the businessmen to?
Battling. There's also a couple Chinese pros that play that people don't really know about. There was lots of battling between the pros for sure.
Where would you rank yourself in the world of poker?
I would guess somewhere in the top 5. I mean, I don't know these days just because I'm not playing as much, and who knows like how hard people are playing and all that. So
Could you name some of the other people in that top 5 with you, or is that
I
asking too
think
much?
Drew Teller, Ike, who else? Mustafa Betts or Matt Ashton. Who else? Maybe like Mikhail Thuritz or someone.
Oh wow, yeah, Mikkel, back from the Magic days. Biggest punt of your career?
The biggest part of my career was on this secret Asian site, and I know it must have been 100 million Hong Kong. It's very secret. I got it in with Ace King. No, I had Kings, and the guy had Ace King. The pot itself was 200 million Hong Kong. Excuse me. I lost 100 million in this pot. Well, tell the story differently, by the way. Don't just tell it differently, because I got it in, and the flop was Ace King 6. The turn was a 7, and I tried to buy insurance, but it was all in Chinese, and the river was an ace. So that it makes for a great story, because I lost 200 million, or I lost a 200 million pot right there.
Brutal. Hold on, I'm doing the conversion. The conversion online. So yeah, that's massive. What'd you say it was? 200,000?
200 million Hong Kong. I had a very small piece of this.
Yeah, so according to that, that's a $25 million pot.
Yeah.
Which is that's one of the biggest pots of all time, obviously.
Yeah.
Insane. Okay, so I guess you don't walk that one off very easily.
Well, it was okay. I happened to walk off pretty easily, as it turns out.
Wow.
But
okay, I was about to ask you if the biggest pot you've ever won or lost. I'm assuming that's the biggest pot you've ever lost.
yeah, the bigger pot I've ever lost. Biggest pot I've won, I don't know.
How many pots would you say you've played that are 7 figures US plus?
I have no idea, man.
Too many to count.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That's just insane. Does your heart race at all when these pots come up, or are you pretty used to it at these days?
It does race a bit, I would say.
Okay, so yeah, so you still get a little bit of nervous energy when you sit down in a big cash game or tournament, or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, best swap or piece you've ever had of anybody?
I can't say.
Okay. Where is the weirdest place you've ever played poker for money?
Weirdest place. I played in the Gambia before. That was pretty funny.
Yeah?
A little bit. Yeah, I gambled in the Gambia.
Gambling Gambia, cool. Okay, what was your largest non-poker wager?
I bet 2 Bitcoins with Elke on some fitness bets. Yeah.
Wait,
I mean,
was this the push-up bet?
It was push-ups, plank. It was also, well, I guess I bet bigger. I bet Luke Schwartz that he couldn't do a certain amount of burpees, that he couldn't do 100 burpees in like 10 minutes, and I lost. That was pretty nasty.
How much was that for?
$100,000 or pounds, one of the two.
Brutal. Okay, so this bet with Elke, someone had to do 170 push-ups in a row. Was that you or him?
No, that's how much I ended up doing.
Oh, and so you won that bet.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right. Let's see here. We got a few more, and then I'll let you go. Headphones on at the table, yes or no?
No. It's too hard to figure out what's going on to do that.
If you could pick the entertainment for the Super Bowl halftime show, what would you pick?
What would I pick? Let's see. I would pick. I have no idea. I'd pick like some cartoon probably.
Just make everybody watch a cartoon. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Get Goku up on the big screen.
Yeah, that would be funny.
I'll say you could hire your buddy Steve Aoki, right? Get him to do the halftime show.
Yeah, why not?
Let's see, that's the WPT ambassador, Steve Aoki. Big poker fan. Do you have a celebrity doppelganger?
Not that I know of.
Did people tell you you look like somebody growing up or anything like that?
I've heard that I look like Sam Weatherthal, something like that.
Sam Weatherthal.
I forget his name.
Weatherford?
I don't know his name. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think that's a person. I just typed in Sam Weather and they just okay. Weatherly, Weatherhead, Weatherspoon, Weatherstone. There's a lot. There's a lot of different Sams. If you guys know who Dan is talking to, listeners, hit him up on Twitter. All right. What is your most prized possession?
Maybe my cell phone, to be honest. I'm trying to
Yeah, can't go anywhere.
think. The fuck else would it be? Yeah, I don't know.
That's what you're grabbing if the house is on fire.
Definitely that, for sure. Or, yeah.
Are you superstitious at all?
No, but if, I like, I wouldn't put it out there. I'd be surprised if there's like something else going on beyond the scenes. It seems like, I don't know, I seesaw back and forth between it, honestly. I'm not sure. Because sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but other times it really, I don't know, seesaw back and forth between it.
Do you have like a pre-session routine or anything like that?
No.
Okay. So you're not like knocking the table 3 times during an all-in? Yeah, that would be a little superstitious. What about your longest session?
72 hours.
Okay. What were the circumstances there? Were you chasing somebody, or was it chasing a loss, or just too good to get
No,
out?
there was someone at the table that almost always loses, and they never sleep, and you have to play until it's finished, basically, with them.
So this person didn't sleep either.
Yeah, they didn't sleep, and we didn't sleep as well. No one at the table slept. There's no sleeping allowed.
How did the session end up for you?
I lost.
Oh my god. That's got to be the worst feeling after staying awake for 3 days.
Yeah, well, what can you say?
Brutal. All right. Do you like telling people that you're a professional poker player?
More or less, yeah. I think it mostly gets good responses. It's like I think people secretly have issues with it, but I don't have any issue, and it's mostly fine, I would say. Mostly good things.
If you could call up anyone in the world to have a 1-hour phone conversation, who would it be?
Probably. My first thought is Elon Musk. I'm trying to think of who else it could be. How much would his phone conversation cost?
That's true. You're getting good value there. He would charge a lot, right?
Probably charge a shitload.
Do you have a favorite gambling movie?
No.
Here. Biggest pet peeve at the table?
Biggest pet peeve? Complaining when winning.
Yeah, that's a big one. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about Run It Once and the work you're doing for them?
Yeah, I'm making videos for them and making some entertaining stuff. Entertaining poker videos. Pretty much, that's just it. I'm making some training videos.
You're teaming up with your arch enemy over there, though.
That's just what I want him to think. What? You didn't figure that out? I mean, that's exactly what I want him to think.
Yeah, this is how you get close to. You get close to Galfond from the inside.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we end the podcast the same way every time with a question from the random question generator. Here we go. What's the funniest TV show you've ever seen?
I think Family Guy.
Okay. You're a big fan when they brought that back. So you weren't kidding. You really do like the cartoons, huh?
Yeah.
Perfect. There you have it. From Goku himself, the winner of the 50K Poker Players Championship, and one of the most interesting people in poker. Dan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing the stories.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
That's it. That is the show. I'd like to thank Dan again for the great stories and also just for being so damn interesting. You can follow Dan on Twitter at JunglemanDan or on Instagram at TheDanCates. And you can also learn directly from him at Phil Galfond's poker training site, Run It Once. To learn more about Dan's charity initiatives in Ghana, visit dancatesfoundation.com. And for the organization he has partnered with for his climb up Mount Kilimanjaro, check out temboeducationgroup.com. As always, you can find us at Card Player Media and at Poker Stories. And if you like what you heard, click subscribe. And if you really want to go the extra mile and leave a 5-star rating and review, we'd like to thank you with a free digital subscription to Card Player Magazine. Just let us know you did so with an email to pokerstories@cardplayer.com. Thanks for listening.